Hello and welcome. In today's video, we're going to compare the old version of NetherSX2 with the new one, called NetherSX2 Classic 2.0. Could we finally have a decent PlayStation 2 emulator for Android, just like we've always hoped? That's what we're going to find out right after a quick message from our sponsors. If you want to buy original games while saving a lot, check out Instant Gaming, the digital store that sells games for various platforms, such as PC, PlayStation, Xbox, and Nintendo Switch. Get games of all genres with discounts of up to 95%. You'll also find a variety of gift cards and credits for other services. You can pay for your order through your credit card on a website with a 4.7 rating on Trustpilot. You're buying games directly from Instant Gaming, not from other retailers. If you encounter any issues, Instant Gaming offers 24/7 support. And this month, Instant Gaming is offering a great discount on the newly released Monster Hunter Wilds, with up to 51% off, ensuring the lowest historical price for the game. Check out the price comparison with Steam's pricing. What are you waiting for to save? Links in the description. First, let's talk a bit about the new project, which can be considered a revival of NetherSX2. The emulator had received its last update, version 1.9, quite a while ago. Back then, the development team had promised that the next update would bring over many of the features from PCSX2 2.0. However, since the project was inactive for so long, that never happened. Now, in this new version, unfortunately, those features still haven't been implemented. On the other hand, the game DB has been updated to the latest available version, along with the controller DB. This means that automatic game configuration is now in line with the latest PCSX2 release, and newer controllers will have better compatibility, no longer requiring manual button mapping for the device to work properly. The widescreen and deinterlacing patches were also updated to more recent versions, although these changes will mostly be noticed by more attentive players, since the visual differences are subtle. Although this new version doesn't bring any major performance improvements, the GameDB update alone has made a noticeable difference in a few games. I'll show you some tests with titles I already knew had performance issues or crashes. At this point, some of you might be wondering, what about Ethereal SX2? There were rumors that it would be released between February and March, but that didn't happen. I checked the PRs on GitHub and it looks like the developer is having trouble continuing the project. So for now, I wouldn't count on it. Just to clarify, all the tests were based on my current experience with NetherSX2 on Android. I had been trying out several games, but many of them had performance issues or other bugs. All gameplay was captured using an external capture card, so there was no performance drop due to screen recording. The device used was a ROG Phone 6 with 8GB of RAM and a Snapdragon 8 Plus Gen 1. Before we start the tests, don't forget to leave a like to help this video reach more people. And if this is your first time on the channel, consider subscribing so you don't miss any of the content I bring here. The first game I tested was Ace Combat 4. I could have tested the newer entries, but since I've already finished them all, this was the only one left. The games share the same engine, and until PCSX2 version 1.7, there were several issues like vertical lines on screen and poor performance. On Windows, all of that has already been fixed, but on Android, the games still struggled, especially on emulator version 1.9. To my surprise, the game ran smoothly in the new version, showing a significant performance boost. However, there was one graphical issue. When looking at the sun, transparencies don't seem to render properly, and the bloom effect is missing. Still, this detail can be overlooked by most players since it doesn't affect gameplay. Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance 2 was another title I had major problems with. This engine is notoriously difficult to emulate, even on a real PlayStation 2. Even the OPL launcher struggles with it. On the emulator, it took a long time to make it onto the compatibility list because of numerous bugs. In the older version, there were serious VRM issues that would break the game during gameplay. In the new version, there's still some slowdown, but it's far less noticeable. I'd say there's been a decent improvement. Crash Wrath of Cortex has always been a problematic game since emulator development began. It could only be played in software mode, and even then, with noticeable lag. As you can see, in the old version of the emulator, we had serious visual bugs, the fog was completely broken, and on top of that, the performance was really bad. In the new version, even using Vulkan mode, all those issues have been fixed. The performance has also improved a lot, and now the game runs just like on the original console. The stutters are gone and performance drops are barely noticeable now. Another game I expected improvements from, but that unfortunately didn't show any progress, was Juiced, Hot and Port Nights. As you can see, this game really struggles to maintain 60 FPS and at best, it hovers around 30 FPS, which is a shame because it was one of the games I was most excited to play. And as the test clearly showed, there's no performance gain. In fact, in some parts, the new version actually performs worse than the previous one. Another PS2 classic that still struggles on Android is Need for Speed Underground 2. A while ago, there was a color rendering issue that caused colors to appear incorrectly. That bug has been fixed in both versions of the emulator, but that doesn't mean the game runs smoothly, especially when other cars appear on screen. The more vehicles you see, the slower the gameplay gets. Even so, it's clear that version 2.0 brings a small FPS improvement. However, the boost is still far from ideal for the game to work as originally intended. I can't say whether it's playable in software mode since I haven't tested that option yet. One game I can say for sure got worse is TOCA Race Driver 3. Besides the poor performance the game still has, there's a transparency layer that doesn't render correctly. It's also clear that some shadows are still showing up wrong. This was definitely a clear regression, and it might be fixed in the future if it gets properly reported to the developer. These were the tests I ran comparing both versions of the emulator. But I also ran some additional tests using only the latest version, 2.0. For instance, I managed to run God of War 2, one of the most demanding games for the emulator, at 2.5x resolution in version 1.9. In the new version, I was able to increase it to 3x, getting close to full HD. Considering my GPU usage was only at 83%, it's likely I can push the resolution even higher. Throughout the entire gameplay, there were no crashes, slowdowns, or noticeable frame drops. Another game where I was able to raise the resolution significantly was Gran Turismo 4. In this case, I went from 2.5x to 3x, which gave me an excellent visual quality. This game used to suffer from major slowdowns, especially when many cars were on screen. Luckily, that issue has already been fixed in the new version. For those who want to get the most out of this game, I also recommend the mod shown in the video card, which is a remaster of Gran Turismo 4 with improved audio and gameplay. The last extremely problematic game I tested was Dirge of Cerberus, Final Fantasy VII. It already had extreme slowdown before, and unfortunately, that hasn't changed at all. This is one of those games still stuck on the PlayStation 2, never re-released on another platform, and sadly, Android users still won't be able to enjoy it properly. And that's it for today's video. I know there are many other problematic games that haven't been tested yet, like Champions, Return to Arms and Metal Gear Solid 3, but overall, I do recommend updating to this new version of the project. The download link straight from GitHub is in the video description, and if this content helped you out, don't forget to leave a like. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.